again. Real Talk with Auntie O. Welcome to my channel. So today we're talking about bad days. We all have those days. I know I do. If you don't have bad days, you're very lucky. But we all have those days. And a bad day could be precipitated by something that's happened to you, or that's happened to someone around that you know, or even someone you don't know. And sometimes there's absolutely no reason. You just have those days where it's just a bad day, feeling overwhelmed. More especially I find in the last year with being at home, in the pandemic, there's just been days where sometimes it's not even, there's no explanation for it. It's just overwhelmed. You're not feeling as excited as you were, let's say, the day before or something, and it's okay. One of the things that we do, I think, is that we mask it. We fake it away, we fade it away, just get going, keep moving. And that's what sometimes a lot of these motivational speakers tell you. It's fine, just keep going. But when you think about it, your mind, your mind is your body, your body and your mind is a being. It has to be cared for. It has to be listened to. Sometimes these bad days are just, your mind, your body telling you, listen. Sometimes you've just got to stop. But we are in a generation where, everything is so fast, everything is so furious, it's just go. Like, you go through something and you don't even stop to think, like, what did I just go through? Be it a good thing or a bad thing, you go through something and it's like, what's the next thing? And what's the next thing? And what's the next thing? And in all of that, we bottle certain feelings, we bottle certain experiences, and sometimes your mind cries out to you to stop, and that's why you just wake up sometimes for no reason whatsoever. You just feel, flat, and all of that. So, what do we do? So, if you're having a bad day today watching this, or if you've had a bad day, before, how did you cope with it? But what I think, first of all, is to stop. The red sign, that circle, I think it's the red circle that says stop. When you're feeling flat, sometimes stop. I've learned to stop and acknowledge. I have learned to actually sit myself down outside of myself. So this is me, and because in my life, with my friends, I talk to people a lot. Encourage people. People share with me their problems, and sometimes you find that I find that I deal with my issues. Sometimes on my own, a lot of times on my own, so what I learned to do is to sit myself down and assume that I am my friend that I'm talking to, so I'm advising someone else, sit down and let's talk. And what's the first thing I've learned to do is to stop and acknowledge. I am having a bad day. I'm not feeling great. I'm hurt, or I'm scared, I'm depressed, whatever it is. Vocalize it, admit it. It helps, because that's you listening to you, to that inner voice telling you, can we just take a moment here? So I've learned to do that, acknowledge it. Yeah, for those of us who are of faith, we are taught to fade it away. Oh no, don't even say it with your voice, just say you have a good day. Nah, just acknowledge it's fine. It doesn't make you faithless. It just means that you're human, and in that moment you are acknowledging your humanity to say, I am having a bad day today. For others, they've perfected the act of faking it. I'll cover that separately. So I've got like 35 topics that I need to do. So, but I'll cover that separately. Some people have perfected the act of faking. So the smile, you see, people who are unhappy, some of the most unhappy people, they smile the most. So the smile, the noise, active, hyperactive, and sometimes I struggle sometimes to reconcile. I hear, this person actually hurt themselves or committed suicide, and you're thinking, they seemed so happy. What was that about? But these are wrong coping strategies that some of us have had to develop, to keep up, because the world is moving. No one is waiting for you. So whilst no one is waiting, we're just like, imagine a rock on a hill just tumbling down and gathering momentum. That's the way the world feels sometimes. Everyone going. Before you even get used to this technology or this new thing, there's that new thing and there is another, and it's just, hurtling down this hill. And sometimes you just want to stop, and it's okay to do that. So first thing I'd say is stop, acknowledge your feelings, tell yourself I feel bad. And so the next stage I go into, and this is me again, you don't have to agree with me, it's just my point of view, my opinion. This is how I handle it. The next step is to walk through that, especially when you know what's making you have the bad day. It's always easier. So walk through honestly, ask yourself the questions: why do I feel this way? So for example, I'll take an example. Let's say, I'm out of work and that makes me feel bad, right? That in itself, is that the real problem? Is that the problem? I don't think so. I don't think a lot of us want to just work for the sake of work. I don't know if anyone enjoys. I mean, I love what I do, but if I could win the lottery, I'll stop working. That's the truth. So what I'm saying is, losing your job is not the problem. It's if you can take yourself deeper to say, okay, yes, so I lost my job, or I've been out of work, for example, for 1 month. What is the implication of this? Okay, I've got bills to pay, I've got mouths to feed. I don't know how I can do that. And then take yourself even further, okay, and this is where you start to put the good and the bad on the table. Okay, so yes, I've lost my job, I've got bills to pay, I've got mouths to feed, but have I got any savings, and how long will that take me for? You've got to bring out, sometimes that you might have this fear that was so big, and by the time you've done this exercise of actually digging to the bottom, picking up the goods, the bads, putting everything on the table, you might find that, okay, it's not as bad as it felt. So yeah, I said, I can pay my bills, or no, I'm worried about the bills, but I've got savings. Okay, if I was to be very prudent, how long would the savings take me for? 1 month, 2 months, 3 months, maybe? Again, ask yourself those questions. Or even if I had no savings, so let's scrap all of that. What other options do I have? Can I get help? Does my government provide any help? Have I got family or friends? Anything I could call up to help? Again, when you start thinking in those terms, then these are practical steps in order to try to address that fear, which is the underlying fear, really, right? And then if I go back to the top, so back to I've been out of work for a month. Sometimes when you've been out of work for a while, there is that fear, right? I know I've experienced it before. Like, oh gosh, what if I never get a job? Like, I'm that terrible with my worrying. What if I never ever get a job again? And I had this some years back actually. So after a month of being out of work, I just thought, oh my God, what if I never ever get a job again? But I did get a job. Actually, I started work maybe a month and a half after the last job, and I still say it till today, if anyone had told me that I was going to get that job, in a month and a half, I would have enjoyed every single day that I was at home. But I couldn't at the time, based on what I knew. I couldn't. I was scared. I was worried. I mean, my kids couldn't even get crisp, like, oh, Mom, I want a crisp. No, I don't have a job, you can't. Like, it was that bad. So, but that was my fear, like, oh gosh, I've been at home for a month, what if I never have a job? So now, if I was to talk to that person, so if I was to talk to the me that I was, those years ago, about 3-4 years ago, I would have asked myself, okay, so you've been out of, let's say, take a look back 3 years, for example. in 3 years, so this is 36 months, right? You've been out of work for 1 month out of 36 months. I mean, you don't need to be a mathematician to work out the probabilities of being out of work for the next 3 years. Like, it's more likely that you would be in work than out of work. So that's the advice. These are things that I know now, years down the line, but I didn't know it then, and no one told me then. Maybe I didn't talk to the right people, but no one told me. So I went through this phase of depression where I'd just be in bed, like sad, thinking of my life, worried. And I remember even when I finally made it to that interview, like, you know, when I was done with the interview, I remember the interviewer telling me, "You're really good at what you do, but you lack confidence. What's wrong?" I didn't say anything, but in my mind I was like, "Oh, if only you knew." If only you knew how desperate I was. But no one told me these things then. I didn't know. I didn't have any ways to realistically evaluate my situation and see, okay, it's not that bad. So I've just used this as one example, but there, you could use that for anything that you're going through. Just really look at that thing. What is the thing? Most times there are things underlying. It's not that thing. It's not the first thing that comes to your mind. That's not the problem. There are underlying issues that you've got to kind of pull apart the curtains, till you get to the real issue. And once you can address that issue truthfully, honestly, so look at, okay, what can I change? What can I control? What things are out of my control? Realistically going through that, I find that it helps. Like, it helps you it rationalizes your fear. It puts some perspective. You then know what the real fear is, but you then know that, okay, there might be a way out. There are things that I can do. So that's very important as well. Whilst doing that, again, look after yourself. I said this in another video and I'll say it here again. Look after yourself. So you would need, on a bad day, not everyone is suitable, to communicate with. And I don't mean this in any way at all. Like, not all of your friends or family, get it. So let me rephrase this actually. So when you're having a bad day, Personally, I limit the communication that I have with certain people. So there are people that are just naturally fake or naturally flamboyant or flashy, or people that don't really, it's all about them. And this is nothing, like, it's nothing personal at all. There are people that every time they talk to you, they want to talk about them. And they never tell you the real deal. They never tell you, the normal stuff. They always bring out the flashy stuff. Oh, actually, I just wanted to tell you this, and I did this, and we got this, and I've got a new car, and I've got... Those sort of people, I avoid them. I do. And this, again, it's a personal coping strategy. If you can cope with those sort of messaging when you're having a bad day, I mean, feast on you can feast on it, but I prefer to cut out certain people. But on the other hand, I have some friends that I can talk to at any time, and these friends don't have to be having a bad day alongside yourself. They don't have to be broke or anything like that, but they are just people that can forget about what's going on in their lives and empathize with you. These are people that you can talk to. You don't have to be going through the same things. They might be having a rosy, flashy life, but they understand. They are able to come down to your level and just talk about you and what you're going through without quickly turning the conversation to be about them, something wild and wonderful that they've just done. So if you have such friends, you're lucky. Speak to them. It's good if that's your way of coping. Again, like I've said in the previous video, cut out the social media. Some of the social media messaging don't help. Again, it's all the flash and the fun. If you can deal with it, fine. I just find that there are days where I go, you know what, I don't want to hear. I just want to go through this, like walk through my personal circumstances. So yeah, these are a few ways that I have handled bad days. If for example, you find that you are eating a bit more on that day, or it's fine, it's all right. Don't, if you want some strict diet, I mean, give yourself a slack. Just get through, take care of yourself, and that's very important. So let me know how you handle bad days, what your coping strategies are, whether you agree with me or not. It's fine. Again, a lot of these discussions are subjective, and then we all have our different approaches and our different viewpoints from which we understand and rationalize the world, and I think that's okay. That's what makes us beautiful, diverse people. And thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel, and I want to hear from you and let me know what you think. Thank you.